This is weird. I'm looking at my meeting here, and it doesn't have this on anybody else, Kyle, but on mine, it's like a power play. It says you can't remotely mute this participant. I don't want to, but it's like specifically. I don't know if it's like anticipating. It's like you don't want to listen to Kyle. Oh, there it goes. It's gone now.
Me and Les have talked about this with Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts puts a lot of weird power in between the people to like try and start conflict.
Randy and Kyle, you can both join without me doing a thing. Nick and I have a standing phone call once a week since fucking February of last year. And I still every single time have to allow him, and it phrases it as like deny entry or admit.
So it sounds to me like Google Meeting is trying to start shit between Nick and Les and me and Kyle.
Yes. Alphabet is passive aggressively.
Google Hangouts trying to cause chaos amongst any calls.
It's a
it's like I get this prompt. It says you are in charge of this meeting. It's like I didn't sign up for that. What the hell is this?
Well, the next thing is going to be is that it's going to put another prompt up. It's going to be like you can mute Nick. Want to? And it's like what are you doing? Stop.
You can.
You can send.
It is straight up.
You can
like
send an electronic shock to Randy's buttocks.
Turns out we were recording for another 10 minutes after the podcast ended. You want to hear what the other people said about you?
Episode 346 of the TV Dudes, recorded August 18th, 2021. Ragtag Cruise. This week, the ragtag crew of the TV Dudes are talking about other ragtag crews. We're talking about the kids on Anohana on Funimation, the burgeoning Justice Society on Stargirl on CW, the dysfunctional family of Titans on HBO Max, the other dysfunctional family of Star Trek Lower Decks on Paramount Plus, and the surprisingly functional families on Ted Lasso on Apple Plus, and the Star-Lord episode of What If on Disney Plus. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick, wondering where the term ragtag actually came from now.
And we're the TV Dudes. And I'll look it up. I'll look it up while you're doing it.
Gotta be some kind of Dickensian Oliver Twist Artful
Yes,
Dodger
right?
thing, right?
That's what it sounds. It sounds like a street urchin thing.
Yes, like we're a band of thieving orphans.
You don't think it's just walking into a shop and like looking at a dish towel and being like, really? This much? This ragtag? This is $20 on here.
It comes from the old-fashioned phrase rag, tag, and bobtail. Bobtail was once slang for contemptible rascal, while tag was meant torn cloth. Together, the phrase meant riffraff or an unsavory bunch of folks.
Guys, I think we found our Patreon episode.
Obscure words.
Let's go back and look over old sayings.
The etymology dudes.
Etymology dudes.
Not the entomology dudes. That's a different podcast.
I want to know if I like Randy's jib or not. Do I like the cut of his jib?
I feel uncomfortable you talking about my jib.
Right? I don't know what I'm talking about, so maybe it's nice.
Is that
All right.
That's what Bruce Willis danced at the end of
Yeah, he did the
Last
jib.
Boy Scout, right? He danced a jib, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll dance a jib.
That was the end of Armageddon.
Oh, yeah.
Randy, we're never going to start this episode. We're never doing it.
The best way to discover the if we like the cut of someone's jib is to determine their TV tastes. And the best way to do that is to talk about our TV diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
And I'm going to start this week. I did not watch a ton. I watched mostly the homework. But I did finish out The Bad Batch. Finished out Schmigadoon, which honestly I was disappointed in. You guys were right. But I was trying so hard to it's gonna be this, it's gonna be this. No, it was exactly what you guys thought it was gonna be.
Sticks with the
Hold
same
on, I'm
format
getting
of songs.
That feeling again.
Yeah.
Was I right again? Ugh.
Damn it, Nick. At least you're still wrong about anime being any good. And then I watched a bunch of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I watched the 2 episodes back of season 8, and then Megan and I watched episodes 9 through 18 of season 4, continuing her first go through and my rewatch. We got to the Mumu episode, which is the one where Terry gets profiled, which was really, really well done. And then I watched the first 2 episodes of the movies that made us season 2, the Back to the Future episode, which was bonkers and great. I knew that movie was crazy, but the movie that was almost made was even crazier. And then the other one's Pretty Woman, which I thought was really interesting just to
Mhm.
to see that. And maybe you want to rewatch Pretty Woman for maybe the first time in 20 years, I think. I don't know if I will.
In terms of like everybody who made that movie was seeing a movie that at no point did the actual writer
Nope.
see.
Nope.
Like that guy had like in his head was making a completely different movie at every point.
Yep.
And like when he tells the real ending of it at the end, I was like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
man.
he was making a gritty crime film. I don't
Like
know what.
A24 would probably put the money up for this. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying it wouldn't be a watchable movie, but it would not be a rom-com classic. Like, what the shit?
And then, because we live in a nightmare world, I've been in a depressive spiral recently. I rewatched Bo Burnham Inside, which continues to be great.
I've still not seen that. I assume you've not seen that for me.
Yeah, I will say this. A lot of my friends watch Bo Burnham Inside, and they talk about it, and they're like, "Oh man, it's really good, but it's so dark. Like, make sure you're in a good place." And I watch it, and I'm like, "Man, that's funny." And I'm like, "That's probably not a good thing. That probably is not a good thing about
not great.
That's not good about my mental state." If I'm like, "No, that's funny." Oh yeah, no. He talks about killing himself a couple times. I get that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I watched Chernobyl. I thought it was hilarious. Those guys have melted.
I just don't know that comedian real well, and he looks super punchable.
Yeah, he does.
Life means nothing.
2021
wait,
humor.
Randy, you said you finished Bad Batch. What is that? The little girl. What is she? She a Jedi?
Oh yeah, give us this.
You'll find out in season 2, Nick.
Oh, they did
don't
that?
reveal it.
They don't reveal it.
Nice.
How am I mad at this show I'm not watching? How am I disappointed in the show I refuse to watch?
I gotta say, despite my dislike for Star Wars and my dislike for anime, Star Wars Visions looks like it actually ought to happen. And like I
Yeah.
had a moment of like, oh wow, all right, so actually this is what y'all should have done, because Disney will prevent anime from getting pervy and will give them endless robots and sword fights and shit. And like,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
My favorite anime, very low on perv.
Yeah. A little racist, but we can deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they the trailer for that looks great. If any patrons want to make us watch Star Wars Visions, you should do that. Nick, what did you watch this week?
What did I watch this week? I watched some more Beast Wars based off of the Transformers Kingdom we watched last week. And I kind of it. The more I watched, the more I remembered about it, and it kind of made the Kingdom movie make more sense, because I forgot that Beast Wars is set in the future, sort of, with the Maximals and Megatron being descendants from the original Autobots and Decepticons, but they get transported into the past somehow and land on pre-human Earth, where dinosaurs and cheetahs and wasps and all these other things live at the same fucking time, apparently.
Sounds like Christopher Nolan's Transformers. They're in the future, but we take them to the past.
They find the ship with Optimus and Megatron in them. They find the ship that are just there waiting to be woken up by what's-his-face in the 80s cartoon. So I'm like, oh, okay, so I kind of get the time displacement here. I'm still pretty sure Kingdom makes no fucking sense, but it makes a little bit more sense than it did yet last week. I kept watching Justified. I'm into season 2 with Mags. What's that actress's name?
Character actress Margot Martindale.
Yes, Margot Martindale. Yes. I was thinking of like I wanted to call her Mags Martindale. I'm like, no, that's the character name. She is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, in everything.
If you ever have a low level, like, you need a villain for maybe just a season, or any like character actor for just a season, I think they did this on Good Fight with her too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's always the Democratic representative, like the DNC rep.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sprinkle her in there, and it'll work great. I love her.
Yeah, I'm firmly of the belief that if your feature or show has the money to just pay Margot Martindale to be there for a day or two, you should.
Yep.
Like if
Yep,
she's
I agree.
available, it's like the A team. If you can find her, just make up a problem.
If you can
She will
find
help
her.
you.
I watched the Harley Quinn show. I rewatched the season 1 and 2. Because I wanted the Suicide Squad got me into Harley Quinn again, so I watched that and Birds of Prey. I really like that Harley Quinn show, guys. It is
It's
so
really
funny.
good.
Yeah, it's great.
I forgot how funny it is.
It's so much better than it had any right to be.
And it's so random and dark. Like Their Jim Gordon is such a sad sack, but so
Oh my
funny.
god, that's right. I
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
man.
it's like Dr. Psycho calls them a bunch of pussies.
Point is, I'm gonna do what you never could because you are a pussy.
Pussies are powerful. They birthed all of humanity.
That was a C-section.
And they just move on. Like, and it's like, what the fuck, Gordon?
Yeah.
What,
Yep.
what were we even talking about? I watched the latest episode of My Hero Academia, which featured a villain that, get this, controlled white painted lines.
White lines.
White painted lines, yeah. Very specific. He can be a villain on a highway. That's about it. But on a highway, it's pretty badass. So you better watch out. Like, it's like Aquaman, only with a lot less area to work with.
Yeah, that feels like a Morrison Doom Patrol power. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just a super fucking bizarre thing to have.
Oh, he would be the nemesis of the sentient street.
Yeah.
Right.
Danny. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, he can control my white lines, I think. Well, I rewatched Lower Decks, the first season, after watching the first episode of season 2, just because I remembered how much I really, really enjoyed season 1, and it hasn't been long enough for me to really forget anything from season 1, but it was just kind of still a fun refresh to go back through, so that was fun. Other than that, I think that was pretty much it for my TV diaries.
Nice. Okay. Kyle, I know yours gonna be quick. What's your TV diary this week?
Yeah, no, I skipped straight to the dessert. We had a little baby shower this week. I got a little baby on the way this fall. So my sisters through this just amazing. It was awesome. Really, my sister-in-law did all the work. Sorry, I could talk about that for like days. It was
Hello, Patreon.
there you go.
Kyle, I feel like I've been hearing about this baby for 8 months. Jesus.
I know. Yeah, same here. But no, I snuck in a little, on the old clock there, double dipping while I'm working. Obviously, I skipped forward, watched all the dessert. Did catch that Schmigadoon finale with the missus. She's really been enjoying the Schmigadoon. And yeah, they sure turned on a dime on that last episode.
What did you guys think? I thought, first of all, yeah, 6 episodes was like, wait a minute, we're done? And the
I
other
didn't
was like,
finish it out.
that
I haven't
story
finished it
arc.
out.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what was funny is I tried to dissect it like a Marvel movie, and I kept getting like woman-splained what was going on. I'm like, oh, what's this reference? Oh, that song must be like to the bigger like musical verse, right? This is like part of that franchise. And she goes, no, it's just they wrote a song and they made it up for the show. And it's like, well, that sucks. When's Thanos gonna come in?
Part of the fun on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend was like them actually naming shit the 11 o'clock song and like
Yeah.
making some like meta references to like when in the fake show of her life this number would come.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but no, she dug it, and I honestly, even for kind of the like quick storybook ending, I dug it for what it was. I probably wouldn't have watched it without her or without you guys. But yeah, I was there. The other thing besides the dessert is I did catch this like 3-hour-long Johnny Quest documentary that's on YouTube right now. Literally, you can just type in Johnny Quest
I'm
documentary.
pretty sure that's longer than any season of Johnny Quest.
I was saying that throughout. I'm like, this is kind of because the show was known for like stretching out its cells and its frames like big time. And what's interesting is you find out the reason for that is the guy who created it just had this like really dope pulp art style, which is popular now. We see it in Venture Brothers and even Archer kind of. And yeah, they just couldn't get people to draw that style fast enough for him. So there's a lot of times where they would have Hanna-Barbera artists who would get done with an episode of the Flintstones and they would come in and they're supposed to draw these goons in like ape outfits and they end up looking like wacky racers or something. So it's like you get a couple frames of like these wacky racer characters like Captain Caveman chasing after Johnny Quest. And then the next scene is like a real gritty, like bearded dude in a fake, Scooby-Doo outfit. But no, that was kind of interesting. It's God, having so much family here. It's like the only TV I get. It's like a little bit on YouTube, in between other stuff going on, but I still wanted to jump in, give my color commentary while you guys go do God's work.
Les, what you got?
Let's see. I'm of course continuing to watch iZombie, which I'm into the 4th season. I remain astonished at how fast this and surely this moves through its crazy complex plot shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they take a show that's got like a zombie as the central character in the first season doing these procedural things, and in your mind like this can't hold. That's part of the danger of the show is hiding her and keeping people from finding out and keeping there from being a zombie outbreak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I first watched it, I didn't know if they were ever going to actually let that shoe drop. And rewatching it, you can see that no, they intended that there's no way to hold this secret. And like, so zombies are found out by other people at the end of season 1. Like shit goes crazier by the end of season 2. By the end of season 3, Seattle is an official zombie like homeland and walled off from the rest of the world. And then in season 4, we get like the rise of like zombie purists who like think humans are food and in the rightful order of things like a religion. Like it's just getting weirder and weirder. The only thing that
So
bothers
season 5, the president's gonna crash land into this no-fly zone, and they're gonna have to send in a
You have to send in
no-nonsense,
Snake
no, they
eye-patched.
at the end of season 4 or around towards the end of or middle where I am in season 4, they've just kidnapped someone's daughter, and the intention was to hold her as human with the promise of releasing her, but she damn near dies getting into the city, and they have to turn her to keep her
Yep.
alive.
Wow.
And so now she's a zombie in Seattle, and they're like, she's like, my dad's gonna nuke this place into a flat glass plate. Like, no, because you're here. And she's like, oh shit. Like, yeah, bud. The only bothersome thing is there at some point there's a writer's change around season 4. Rob Thomas is still running it and everything, but there's a minute early in season 4 where like the nuance of how Liv behaves on brains, like zombies eat a whole brain, they get their personality. It's the crux of the whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
It goes from taking on a few traits to just being a little heavier handed with the comedy of it. And
Yep.
there's a couple of episodes where like there's one in particular, she's eats a preschool teacher's brain, and humorously dark show. And what appears to happen is not just she becomes like a preschool teacher. She becomes like a preschool teacher who cannot tell the difference between adults and children, or when it is an appropriate situation to talk to people like they're children. And so she just proceeds to talk to everyone as if they are in a preschool. And it's like, I don't think that's quite how it would work in the logic of it. Also, I want to punch you through the TV screen if you don't stop.
So either the show is badly written, or she ate the brain of a mentally unwell preschool teacher.
Yes, that's what I was like. Okay, if we're gonna no prize our way out of this, your preschool teacher was insane.
Yeah.
But yeah. So overall, though, and they get back on their footing, and at this point the overall plot is so fucking nuts that it's just a blast.
Just count yourself lucky. It could be worse. Your show could have got Scott bucked right out of the fucking
right
stratosphere.
Like around season 3, it just slows down, and we do season 4 as 3 seasons. Yeah, it's like the letter from the jerk. Like in season 1 felt like 2 days, and season 3 felt like 4 days. I also have been watching iCarly. Been of course keeping up with The Good Fight, which alternates between great episodes and really, really infuriating. I want them to take this court down. I'm so mad at it.
Yeah.
Like, and I hope that they are. I hope this show's landing like this for other people. Of like, hey, did you think it was like a fun, wacky idea full of people you love to do a private court? Because it's a terrible idea.
What is this private? I'm way behind. Do they have like some sort of mock court?
You should see it in context. You should see it in context.
You really should. You really should. So they've got Mandy Patinkin is running, like his own court. It on the one hand, it's like agreeing to arbitration, but on the other hand, you can tell what he starts being financially backed, and you can tell that the eventual goal of the financial backers is a private court system.
To have their own court system. Yeah.
Whoa.
And like that's just a creepy end game. That I'm hoping is as infuriating for other viewers as it is for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the Kings aren't dumb. They got to know what they're doing here, but it's
Yeah, and
so weird.
I feel like it's what they didn't get to do with Memo 618.
Yeah.
And on the count of child murder, we find you guilty and serve life without possibility of parole. This verdict brought to you by Verizon.
Yeah, it's infuriating. Like, yeah, as a way to make the whole audience feel that powerlessness in front of a system, it
Mhm.
does that, which is great.
Yeah.
But also, yar.
Also infuriating.
Of course, Letterkenny. I've watched all of Parks and I've been watching Parks and Rec, but I've seen all the Parks and Rec so many times that we're now rewatching Letterkenny. Roku picked up all the Quibi shows, and one of them is Memory Hole, which is Will Arnett doing like 5 to 10 minute bursts of deeply awful Canadian pop culture history.
Remind me again how Quibi didn't succeed. It was such a
I
place
swear
for...
to God, though, these things are eminently watchable. Like you will watch through these. Like they're such a great bite, and they're so like holy shit awkward. If Quibi had been on real televisions and then done their second screen shit on my phone, I think it would still be going. Roku's making second seasons of some of these things.
Oh, that's crazy.
But yeah, I would actually recommend everybody go check. If you have a Roku, go check out Memory Hole. It's hilarious. Oh, they do an episode on Jim Cotta, and Patton Oswalt comes on to explain the plot.
Wow.
Like they were like, okay, so we just need to imagine what the pitch meeting for Jim Cotta was, knowing that this got greenlit and was made, and it just cuts to Patton Oswalt with like, okay, so the country of Parmistan. Watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off for the first time in a long time. Still love that movie. That was my, I don't know what clinical depression is. I'm in a bad mood for a month in college.
When they do
movie.
movies that made us a Ferris Bueller, it's going to be awesome because they did a documentary on VH1, actually, of all places, years ago, like an hour long, and I was just entranced. Like
all the crazy shit. I mean,
yeah,
most of the
that
sky
one
shots,
was
you know, in
good.
your heart can't be Chicago, and they
Yeah.
aren't. They're Cali.
Right.
Like, there's so much weird shit. There's talking about Nick. You talked about a while back. Chris Nolan kind of makes like chase scenes that are just emotional. Like, what fucking city layout does Gotham have that these car chase scenes work? Like, there's no way you drove, and we're on a bridge now. What the shit?
How are we on a bridge, but also we went under an overpass? What were we doing?
And that's the way the backyard scene in Ferris Bueller works. Like,
By the
there's
way, guys,
no way that works.
You say that doesn't work, but I submit that none of you have driven in Boston because I feel like that's how Boston is laid out.
No, I submit that it does work. No one's right on that one. No one notices that sort of shit during a
and
chase.
the same with Ferris Bueller. Like, if you try to figure out like what this neighborhood must look like for the cars and his backyard run to work, and it's like Escher's.
After like the fourth backyard, like aren't you like with Ferris? Like, wait a minute, why didn't you just go down the street, the block here? It felt like the time
you didn't
jumping
have to
over these
hurdle
fences.
all of this. Like,
Don't king shame Ferris Bueller.
Of course, then watched Legends of Tomorrow, which continues to just be bug shit crazy, and Superman and Lois, and then all the homework, obviously.
Yeah. All right, that's our TV diaries for the week, which means it's time for our other regular segment. Nick, is truth stranger than fan fiction?
Imagine, if you will, a reality containing television programs so bizarre they are indistinguishable from the ravings of a madman. Is the show you are about to hear simply a fabrication in the mind of a man with clearly nothing better to do with his time? Or is the truth indeed stranger than fan fiction?
Well, we are just going to have to find out. Kyle, I think it is your turn to pick.
Fantastic.
By the way, the anime fans get a bonus this week because not only is it truth stranger than fan fiction, we're going to be talking about anime. That's more anime than the show deserves.
Right. If this one is an anime, sometimes they're not. I think this one is, but
Sometimes they're British game shows.
Yeah, one time it was Todd, so they're not always.
Yeah, sometimes most of the time it's Magiswords.
there is a statistical significant amount of times it has been Magiswords. I will admit.
I mean, someday we're all going to find out that we're swords.
What do you think you're drinking drinking that coffee out of, Les?
It's a sword!
Or is it a cup sword?
Damn it.
Kyle, pick between W and Z. Those are your letters.
All right. Why?
No, you have to pick one of the two letters, Kyle.
Oh, no, not a letter between W and Z. I thought it was a neat change in format there. Yeah, I'll go with Z.
You know, you always bring them alphabetical in numeral order jokes, and that's what I appreciate about you, Kyle. Okay, Z. All right, guys. This show is about a high school kid, like they always are, apparently.
Mhm.
This guy, how does it start again? Yeah, he
Is a sword.
he sees he sees a fire, and he sees someone inside the fire, and the fire trucks aren't here yet, so he goes to try and save this person. Only when he tries to save this person, he turns into a giant bear monster thing, but he's a mascot suit. Like he has a zipper in the back and everything. Like he's a mascot suit, but he transforms into one. And the girl he saves was trying to commit suicide very inefficiently by burning down a building around herself. But she apparently knows that there are monsters around in this world, and like, aha, I knew you guys were real, and now you owe me. You ruined my death. Like, I saved your life. No, not the same thing. It turns out he got these people get these weird powers from collecting coins and putting them into a vending machine that an alien put there, so that the coins are, how did they explain it? The coins are like digital knowledge of like these alien beings. They're almost like their downloaded personalities, and that's how they travel via space, so that they don't need to use resources and some shit. But their thing landed, and for some reason it's a vending machine, and now they need to be collected up so that the vending machine can go home.
I'm sorry. Quick clarification.
Yeah.
From Les and Kyle, is Nick still speaking, or am I having a stroke?
Yeah, that's a stroke. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I mean, Randy, I don't want to assumption, but you do live in Texas. Like, it could be a heat. Are you hydrating?
Can you smell toast, Randy?
How much Lone Star have you had today?
No. Proceed to tell us about this thing that now has had like 5 different twists.
The girl, she figures out, like, I want to pull down your zipper on the back of your suit, which she does. Turns out he's fucking empty in there. Like, there's nothing in there. He's a fleshy shell that she climbs into and then can control, because he is not very into violence, but she totally is. This chick is a psychopath. And her entering him, she discards all her clothes because she doesn't want to get them all yucky or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not...
Now we're talking.
It's not unsexual, I'll say that.
Anime. It's not sexual.
I mean, come on, like, and so they have to fight these monsters that also have coins, and they team up to fight that and the girl's sister who murdered her parents. Apparently the sister is also who gave this dude his weird powers for some reason. I think she's in love with him. I don't know. I honestly, I kind of lost thread as I was watching. I lost a little bit of what was going on. But oh right, they have the mascot has a gun. It has a toy gun, like it's a giant, like almost looks like an inflatable gun, but it does shoot bullets and like armor-piercing bullets.
So it's not a t-shirt cannon?
No, it's not a t-shirt cannon. Oh, that would have been good though.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for a mascot.
Yeah.
People, and he murders people with a t-shirt cannon.
The t-shirts unravel, like get on the person and then start eating them alive.
Kyle, see, now we're thinking. Now we got something.
I'm trying to peel back the side of the label on this.
I got killed by so-and-so, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
I saw the murder mascot, and all I got was murdered by this lousy t-shirt. But yeah, guys, that is basically the premise as far as I understand it.
Mhm.
Guys, did I run out of time this week and put really low effort into faking something for this week? Or is the truth indeed stranger than fan fiction?
Kyle, it was your turn to pick. Why don't you go first?
Yeah, let me go first here because I got some thoughts. All right.
All right.
That part with the vending machine, I love that. Okay. If you did indeed write that whole vending machine bit, that's great. All right.
What do you like about it specifically? So I can write that down.
That
here.
just seems so original. Like a sentient vending machine that is like giving powers away for like collecting these coins. It's like a smarter. You've all seen District 9. They're trying to gather this like really scarce fluid to like power their like command vessel to start the ship up. And he's like getting like a drop at a time. And it's like, hey, if he did some vending machine giving out
How did you link
superpowers.
this to District 9? And also logically,
This would have been a way better way for them to get that liquid if they had a vending machine that gave out superpowers. The District 9 prawns. You guys aren't seeing the connection.
but in Johannesburg, it would have been definitely no prawns vending machine.
Yeah.
Like no prawn water fountains.
No, that bit is so good. And when you tell me I'm wrong here, I'm going to be very disappointed. But I think stranger than fan fiction. I don't think you wrote this.
You think it's an original?
You think it's real?
Anime? You think it's real?
Yeah, I think it's real.
Okay.
Les, what do you think?
I think this is not real.
I am divided on this one. It seems just scattershot enough that it could be Nick scatting and developing a thing as he goes. But as we all know, anime loves to have things that have like, well, here's the premise, here's a hat on a hat, and here's a hat on a hat. And this has so many hats, I feel like it's real. I'm going to say it's real.
All right. So that is only one says it was fake. Les, you are dead wrong.
Damn it! What is this called?
Oh.
This is called Glipnir.
Oh.
Zoltar in Japanese.
It's called it's a G thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a actual show on Funimation. It was brought to us by our listener Oscar.
Oh my god!
Pointed me towards this one.
It just occurred to me that people might be sending you fucked up anime to tell us about.
No, don't you remember? Like that's how I got
that,
the monster review or sex brothel review one.
Yeah,
what was it?
yeah.
Species reviewers.
Block that one out. That's right.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised Mandy isn't just texting UI suggestions every day.
It could be that she's afraid of actually contacting me via the whole we can't actually interact in any way.
Right, that's
but
true.
I will tell Mandy that I've subletted the Stranger Than Fanfiction Gmail to one of my Mercs with Mike's interns. So I don't actually I don't actually read
If y'all
them.
ever shake hands, it's like Southland Tales, which is
loophole.
Because I know these listeners will send me horror things, and I want to stay one step removed, but also utilize you for your sick minds.
Yes.
And if you would like to send any of your sick thoughts, you can send them at truthistrangerthanfanfiction@gmail.com. And that's where I'm accepting ideas for real and fake anime. You want to make something up? I'll go with it.
Make sure it has a vending machine that grants powers. I mean, it won't be original the next time I hear it, but that's like out there. I would have never thought of a vending machine that gives out powers.
And if you want to contribute to the show in another way, you can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes and throw us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep up with the streaming services, pay our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're going to have a look at a little bonus project from Pandemic Times by Nick and Les. Well, the first Pandemic Times. We also have our $20 showrunner level, so if there are shows you want to throw through rotation, you can buy into that level, give us a couple of ideas. In September, we'll be talking about Psycho-Pass for Max, and we'll also be talking about Max's Anohana this week. As a reminder, these shows do not have to be anime. I keep telling you this, and no one's listening.
I just thought it was a bit you were doing, Randy.
But we prefer them to be anime, right? But that's where the miscommunication is. We prefer anime, but they don't have to be.
All right, gentlemen, let's talk about Anohana, which has a subtitle I don't remember. Flowers for Algernon? I don't.
Yeah, the flower of that day that we were there when that kid died.
So we've watched a not insignificant amount of anime for our patrons, and there's been stuff that I've
flower
actively...
we saw that.
It's been a great time.
There's been stuff I've really disliked. There's been stuff I've liked. There's been stuff I've actively disliked. I don't know if I was ever as bored by an anime. This was not where I left. I didn't stop watching it out of like disgust or I just can't. I just could not bring myself to give a shit about these
No,
characters.
I almost texted y'all. I was like, this is like flavorless base for frozen yogurt. Like
Yeah.
this is technically a dessert, but I'd rather not eat it.
Yeah. You know what ramen packets taste like before you cook it in water and put any seasoning on it? That's what this is. This
It's
is
Drunk
seasoning.
Kyle knows.
It's lovely.
Kyle, what flavorless food do you want to compare it to?
I'm a Vienna sausage man myself.
That's not flavorless. That is flavored
Oh
of
yeah, I guess
sadness.
that's insanely salty.
No, you want the hummus that it's dipped in.
Yeah, there we go. I like rice patties.
There's nothing. I mean, the animation's really good. The
It's
story's
fine.
sweet. There's nothing.
Well,
wrong
guys, you
here,
keep
but, oh
making
my
fun of
God.
the 5 hats, but as soon as we take them away, you guys are bored.
Yeah, it turns out you got to put something on those heads, or else
So-
they're just bald and boring.
This feels like a really simple and straightforward Friends show dragged out across 10 episodes, and then somebody was like in the pitch meeting, like, that's boring as fuck. And like, well, what if the dead kid's a ghost haunting them? I'm like, all right, I'm back. But it feels so weird. Like the rules of the ghost are all the fuck over the place, and they try to make hay out of it. I mean, like it is part of the arguments between the friends as to who's seen what, because there are these weird rules where they're like, well, I don't know how she baked that bread. And like, cool, I don't either. How is she leaving the kid's house and going away and coming back? And he doesn't think, oh, cool, my
She's going on her
hallucination
own
stopped.
separate adventures.
Yeah. And you don't just think, oh, cool, this finally stopped. You think my hallucinations left me and gone away without me to do other fun things alone. Like,
But-
that is next level imaginary friend abandonment. That's fucking crazy.
But also shows about Friends, Seinfeld, Happy Endings, a New
Coupling.
Girl. There are coupling. There are shows about friends, and they're funny, and the characters are memorable. I couldn't name you any of the characters in this, or why I care about any of them. There's no personality to any of it.
Well, and they all, it's like everybody's just guilt ridden as fuck and like won't do like, I don't know. I watched 6 episodes of the 10. But yeah, every time was
That's a decent way through.
Yeah,
a slog though.
yeah.
And like nothing's there's nothing really huge to reveal. She clearly died and got hurt, and like the whole wish thing is weird. Like, why doesn't the ghost know what she in the first episode, I wish we'd at least met all the friends in the first episode. You had to get through the second episode before you even saw the whole gang. And in the first episode, when she's the entire dynamic of her still being a little kid while he's having aged into puberty. Randy,
Also,
something fuck up.
they mentioned she's also
alright.
kind of grown up, but she seems less grown up than the rest of them.
Yeah, like, is something wrong with her level? Like, what is up with this? Like, because she's still super little kid, but she's even more little kid. Even when they flash back to them all being children, she's the most little kid out of all.
She's
of them.
still
Yeah, yeah.
she's basically just smaller. She's a smaller version.
The opening of the first episode where he sits down with his dad, who is probably my favorite character in the show. I like the complete
Yeah.
fucking burnout dad. And they sit down to eat, and she sits down in Jensen's lap
Mhm.
and grinds on him. And I don't. Nick was telling me off camera that in anime, the pop noise usually signals a boner, not actually finishing. But either
So
way,
it's one less creepy than you think.
right?
It is.
It's like he made it to like underage ghost first base instead of underage ghost happy ending, but it's still like he gets red in the face in front of his dad. It's the first moment where you realize that no one else can see her, even though that's pretty clear. And he like blushes and falls back after an audible noise. And it's like I was just sitting there like, okay, I mean, I get trying to show the dynamic between this being a girl you had a crush on when you were littler and now you're a teen, but this is animated, so telling ages is really difficult. Your teens look like your high school kids, you look like your 20-year-olds. There's a near rape later, in episode 5 or 6 where
Oh,
the
Jesus.
redhead curly-haired girl almost gets taken into a hotel and she's standing on the sidewalk like screaming at this dude, I don't want to go upstairs with you. And if somebody hadn't walked over and like stopped it, like I mean, like the show is weirdly dark for also being really bland.
Yeah.
Less the and not even just anime, but anything Japanese, you don't want to answer how old anyone is. The age of consent is different there, and it very much shows in their media.
I was really wondering, like when the guys sit down on the date, like Ryu, like the girls are having sodas and the guy sits down immediately with a beer and then is like, let's get out. And the joke he makes is like, yeah, y'all are gonna leave? You're leaving the karaoke party? And he's like, oh yeah, she's not feeling well, and I got to go home and catch One Piece. And somebody's like, One Piece isn't on tonight, and he's like, we'll see about that.
I love that they know that One Piece isn't on tonight.
Yeah, but then and like the guys are like, oh, that's cold, you dog. And like
it's kind of like it'd be our equivalent of like I want to catch the new Pokemon episode or something. Like it's listening to a child about to date rape another child. It's pretty weird.
Well, and using One Piece as a gross term for getting some is just weird.
They keep making references to a lot of different anime. Like a lot of background stuff is mentioning different stuff, talking about TV shows, all that sort of thing. I also like that they used One Piece because they know that thing will never stop running. It's the supernaturals of anime.
Even I had heard of it. I've never seen One Piece, but even I was like, that's a famous anime. Oh, that's not what you're meaning, though. Yeah, I watched a bunch of these, but didn't. I don't know. This was just slow. I don't know if there's something I don't understand about story pacing in Japanese storytelling. Like, because the credits hit in the middle of these episodes, and it's weird.
Yeah.
So, like, I wonder if there is a story structure I'm not getting that makes this pacing make more sense. If there's just something I'm not understanding here, but it feels really oddly paced.
There's a different set of drama with, and especially with this one where they keep the method of death pretty close to the vest until the very end. And exactly what happened with the kids, they slowly feed that back. That's a pretty common anime trope of like figuring out afterwards. Although with this one, it's pretty easy to figure out from the jump. Like, okay, she died. Like, it doesn't really matter how she died. Like, this is she died. Some people blame themselves. Some people are feel bad about it. Like, had complicated relationships. Some people were in love with her or in love with a guy that was in love with her. Like, it's all love triangle-y and I know you guys are gonna make fun of me, but I watched till the 10th episode, and none of what you're saying is really wrong. There's not a whole lot going on in this anime, but I did cry at the end.
Oh, okay,
like
all right.
It got me. Like the last episode, I actually legit they say goodbye to their friend in a very touching kind of like, it's a touching kind of goodbye to your friend and finally dealing with loss sort of thing. And it's a message that could have been gotten across in an hour and a half rather than 10 episodes. But by the end I was tearing up at it, so I got to give it credit for that.
It's kind of a 13 reasons why is this so long.
Tasteful.
I may go out. I may go. I mean, I'm at. There's 3 left. I may finish this out at this point. Then, hearing that there's something to the ending.
Yeah, you gotta report back next week if you're like, oh no, it actually did. There was a little bit of fruit at the bottom of that cup of yogurt starter, whatever it is that we were watching.
One flower. It's a hair clip.
Come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams. Together we will find everything that we're looking for. There's always room for you if you wanna be my friend. We are on a cruise. We are.
All right, let's change topics and let's talk about Stargirl over on CW, which I think Les and I are the only ones who have watched the season 2.
Yes, Nick, you said you hadn't watched season 1, so you didn't
Yeah, I was gonna watch season 2, but then I saw the costumes from Stargirl season 1, realized I hadn't watched it, and I was like, it made me look. It looked hopeful of like, ooh, this is what I want. This is actually what I want the CW shows to be.
I think
Yeah.
just we'll talk about it in a minute, but the opposite of my text to y'all about Titans applies here. I think you should definitely go watch season 1 of
Yeah, so
Stargirl.
instead, I didn't have enough time to go through Titans, so I just burned through 3 episodes, or I didn't have time to go through Stargirl the whole thing, so I just went through Titans, the 3 episodes. I burned through those for season 3.
So
Forced myself to watch Titans.
So I loved Stargirl season 1. I thought it was really wonderful. Randy, I felt, if I'm remembering correctly, you were pretty pleased with it as well.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, until Superman and Lois, I think it was CW's best show.
I would agree. Yeah, Superman and Lois it just has something else going on.
Yeah.
But Stargirl's great, and Luke Wilson. So season 2, the first episode, you haven't gotten to watch the second one yet, right?
I have not. Yeah.
So I'm always thrown a little bit when shows decide that they need like a subtitle heading. So this is Stargirl Summer School.
Yeah.
And I'm always, I don't know, I'm just always confused by like, what does this mean?
Yeah. Why you're doing this? Yeah.
Yeah. It there's something cute about it that fits with this world, and I'm kind of digging it. Basically, Courtney has to be in, like, almost all of them are in summer school for some reason or another. Pretty much because Courtney was fucking around being Stargirl instead of passing high school. And I kind of love the immediate payback of like, no, you're in high school and have done a bunch of shit this season, and not your grades.
I also love that she's become like a danger junkie. Like,
yeah,
they're patrolling the city, and the rest of the kids are like, yeah, man, we beat the Injustice Society. There's no danger here. We're in a small town.
Yeah,
and
she's
I
like,
love
I'm gonna make one more loop around. They're like, okay.
I love that she throws down with some girl at school because she's sure she's being attacked. Like, she looks like a psychopath.
Yes, yeah. In the first episode, so the first episode back, I felt like was both a little slow, and Courtney is a lot. Like she's because she's champing at the bit to go kick the shit out of something, and she's staying up all night going through old JSA files, and like that's a lot of fun Easter eggs. Like she's like, tell me about per decaton, and tell me about
sir, your daughter actually broke this girl's clavicle and unquote for justice.
Oh, she gets called into the principal's office.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah.
Like, cause she flips this girl over in the cafeteria and like, you fucking psycho. But this season,
what do you think this is, Cobra Kai?
Right. The second they add in the first episode, they kind of get us back into it and get back to everything. I love Zeke that they add. So they think they're going to go on this family vacation, which her fight in the cafeteria gets that canceled because now she has detention and all this shit, or summer school or all this shit. So Luke Wilson's character had arranged to have somebody watch the mechanic shop for him while they were going to go on vacation, and now they're not, so he doesn't need the dude. But you can't really unring that bell. The guy has already walked into the back and found the giant fucking Stripesy robot.
Yeah, what was his plan? Did he not think he was going to go there?
Right? That's what I was like. And don't go past that door. And like, there's nothing back there.
There wasn't a fucking lock on it.
That's
right.
That's the first thing that guy's gonna do when he leaves. Is that sign? Is go past that sign.
Oh yeah, and the door's standing open. Like as soon as he comes, like, hey man, I'm not gonna be needing you after. Damn it.
The sign might as well have said, "There's some cool shit in this office."
Yeah, and Luke Wilson plays it off terribly of just like, there's nothing back there. It's just boring. Just parts and stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be like if Bruce Wayne stuck a note right next to the sculpture head, like, "Please don't flip and click the button underneath this."
Yes, yeah.
There's a living bat colony underneath. That's not worth seeing. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So Zeke's response though to him, like Luke Wilson's making the like, hey, so yeah, it's kind of a personal project. I don't really need any help with it. I don't really want to bring anybody in on it. And like the whole time Zeke's like, yep, no, I hear you. Yep, total agreement. All right, I'm gonna get my tools. And and like him just looking at it, like the best moment I think in all of Stargirl so far is Zeke putting his hand up and like, hey man, you don't got to tell me. Sometimes a man just needs to build himself a robot. And then he follows it with, hell, I built myself a flamethrower out of a propane tank and a BB gun. I think I could fit it in the hand right there. I'm gonna get my tools. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's
and so
great.
he keeps forward. Like I'm down for this. I don't know if they made him up for the show or what, but Zeke's fucking great, and
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Also, so far it's
So
creepy.
they've got Eclipso and they've got the Shade.
Yeah.
So in episode 2,
Ooh, the Shade.
those really start to flex. Like the Shade makes himself known, and he is similar to the comics. He's dapper and friendly and clearly a threat, but also like he doesn't just want to fight you in the street. Like
Yeah.
he might be.
I like Shade. They don't use him
Yeah,
a lot. I'm like
yeah.
glad to see he's getting there.
I'm looking forward to him not being the clear villain in this because
Yeah.
because they have Eclipso, they've got a villain.
Yeah.
And so Shade can be Shade, which means he's going to play both sides.
Yeah, just like he did in Starman.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I
Sure.
can't wait. I'm so excited.
So, Les, what's the over/under on whether we see Jack Knight in this series?
I honestly, I think it's rising. Like
I think so
they're
too.
going to go there eventually.
And when we see an O'Dare, I'll know that that's where they're going.
I am flipping out as an Infinity Inc. nerd.
Yeah.
That Jade's in.
Yep. Oh, that was cool.
So
That was
episode
so cool.
2 brings Jade like she's fully there now, and they deal with the Lantern. Like so episode 2 really kicks her off, and it feels like they are not that the show took. I felt like the pacing was fine on how they doled out the powers and everything in season 1, but it seems like season 2 is like, oh no, we know you're already here with us. Like we can't pretend like it's coy to have people be barely powered. Like Jade's a Green Lantern. It's creepy. I mean, like that's a lot. And they all talk. They're like, hey, so your power is different than all of us.
Yeah.
Like your power is not like anything. Like she has cool computer goggles. I can take like a super steroid for an hour. You know, she's got a weird staff, but like, what the shit is a lantern?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have an alien power battery.
Yes. And she's trying to find Todd, who's going to be Obsidian.
Oh, nice.
Which I'm stoked about that. But the best thing so far is their handling of Eclipso.
Yeah.
The second episode, you see Eclipso. Well, we've seen a flashback of him do something like his deal of corrupting somebody and then taking them in a flashback. But he does it in like real time, like takes over Cindy Berman at one point in episode 2, and the effect of it is really great.
Nice.
She put like you see her. Like the skin darkened for like the half moon or like almost eclipsed over her face, and her eye glows, and like it was great. I'm really pleased with how creepy this villain is in the context of how light and Blue Valley the world is.
Well, one thing that I was worried about is that this started out as a DC app, a CW like co-production of some kind. There's a lot of this going on, stuff moving from one network. We talk about Evil and moving from CBS to Paramount Plus, and generally it's a good thing. This is a thing where it went from a sort of paid network with a little bit more edge to the CW, and I worry they might round the edges off it a little bit, but it seems like it's working.
It seems like that this is really where they should be. I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm so glad. Soups and Lois just had its finale, so Stargirl's my Wednesday like super show now.
Well, there is another super show you could watch though, Les.
What if there was?
What if?
Oh no,
Robin,
you're talking about a different.
I'm talking about Titans.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, technically,
I was going another way.
What if Zack Snyder got a TV deal?
Man, so I've watched both seasons of Titans prior to this.
I did not realize you watched all of season 2.
Season 1 made me angry. But there was enough I liked that I watched it all the way through.
They hand wave it away in the start of season 2, Randy. Weren't you happy with that?
And then season 2 I liked better, but it was still like, it was very DC, which is to say that it was like a teenager who thought it was grown up to swear and make violence and cause and have death and blood and shit. And I don't know that I did finish out season 2 as I think about it. Maybe I didn't, because I don't remember Wonder Girl dying, and I feel like I would remember that. But I came back for season 3 because the ads have Barbara Gordon, and they're doing Red Hood, and Jason Todd is one of the best things about the Titan show. So I watched these 3 episodes, and I'm like, you know what? It's a jump in quality again. It's still a garbage TV show. It is exploitative crap in so many ways, but the opening thing of the Titans taking down Gizmo was really fun.
That was awesome.
I love their Nightwing. I love what they're doing with their Nightwing. I really like what they're doing with Superboy and Crypto.
I told Nick Tice, I was like, how the fuck is Titans the show that gave me Crypto kicking
Yeah.
the shit out of somebody?
Yeah.
Like, I finally get to see that on television, and it's not on the CW. The CW didn't give me the fighting dog.
Nope.
HBO Titans gave me Crypto.
But they also so then we get Jason Todd, who again, one of my favorite parts of the show because he's such a little shit. And they did a callback to season 1 where instead of fuck Batman, he's like fuck the Joker. And then they almost comedically smash cut to the Joker beating him to death.
Oh my God! There's no time. yeah. That blew me away. I loved the Bruce being like, "No, I'm landing in like 4 hours. Just wait."
Yeah.
Like, no, we've got him dead to rights. Like, he's the Joker, man. He fights me a lot. You need to not do this. And yeah, when he's looking around like, I'm gonna go kick the shit out of this dude, and the golf club comes out of nowhere. Like, there's not even a fight. It just is immediately the Joker beating him to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
No preamble, no blowing him,
Nothing.
like just beats him to death with a crowbar.
Just laughing, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, of course, because it's Titans,
They go somewhere that the comics will never go, which is that Batman feels so guilty about the whole thing, and then Dick guilt tricks him about it, and so does Barbara, that he goes and kills the Joker with a crossbow with a crowbar, and the Joker's into it. The Joker's like, yeah, he laughed when I split his skull. He knows he won, and Batman knows that he lost, and he has to retire now.
Yeah.
They can't ever do that in the comics.
no.
But I'm like, that's
Yeah.
interesting. That Batman's like, oh yeah, I killed the Joker.
But-
He went too far.
It also takes the comic motivation for Red Hood away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Jason's mad that he wouldn't even when he killed me, you still wouldn't
Yeah.
step up and end this bullshit.
Well, I
And-
think that's why he's mainly mad at the Titans now. Of
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
You guys got to grow up like I
So
did.
yeah, instead, yeah, exactly. Instead, we now have a Red Hood that is looking at the Titans, going, "Look, apparently the only thing y'all understand is this level of threat, and then you will suddenly end the Joker,
Yeah.
or end the whatever. Like we can be effective in this. You're just pussies." And
The weird thing is, this Red Hood bears little to no resemblance to the Red Hood in the comics. Like they do the riff on his scene where he drops a bag of heads on the guy, but he was always like a vigilante in the comics. In this, they're like he's purporting to be like on their side, and he's going after the Titans to kill them, and his motivation is weird, and his abilities are weird. I'm like, wait a minute. He read a chemistry textbook and somehow resurrected himself. How does he make this bomb that kills Hawk? Like, how is he? None of these skills are in Jason Todd's
How
wheelhouse.
is he a match for Robin? And any previous matchup, Robin has kicked his
he's
fucking
on
ass.
he's on
Right.
what looks to be some kind of Mirakuru type.
Oh, yeah,
type
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
He's got that aerosol, but they still don't explain. And they're making a point of like Jason's not this kid. Like how Jason did not crack a book in his life. How is he making this?
They're pretty mean about it.
And they're going to see Scarecrow, who is Vincent Karthauser.
That's pretty great.
So going to see Scarecrow as a consultant in the Arkham, and I feel like Scarecrow is the actual villain of this season.
That would make sense.
And I'm feeling like there's going to be some.
Well, he had that thing like a breathable gas, and he kept mentioning fear. I'm not afraid of the Joker or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm
I'm
think
thinking Scarecrow has sent him sent it like through some circuitous route has gotten that, because the Scarecrow makes some statement to Dick about like the only thing the city understands is fear.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Also, not weird, but it fits the Titans. Scarecrow's super into weed.
I love that Dick's like,
He's
"Are you
just chilling
joking?"
out.
He's like, "No, I'm not. It slows my brain down, and I can. If you want to have this conversation, man,
So I also really like their use of Commissioner Gordon. I like Barbara being Commissioner Gordon. I think that's cool. I mean, it fits in with the Titans. This is one of my things with Titans that I really hate is that their Batman. Everybody likes to do stories about Batman being emotionally stunted, but a good writer. I mean, they just did this in the comics. Basically, ultimately, comes down to he loves these kids and he is their dad and he's doing his best. He's just emotionally stunted. Batman's an asshole.
When Dick finds the list of all of the other candidates, which is a fun Easter egg list, but also he's like, "Man, you had to have started this when he left to come hang out with us at the Titans. Like, you've been planning another Robin the whole time. Just wait, like, so you always have a plan for the next Robin when one of us dies."
Yeah.
But then they also, I'm deeply afraid of how Titans will do this, but they give us Tim Drake.
Yeah, I'm afraid of what they're going to do too, but I'm glad they're doing it.
But
He's my favorite Robin.
he fits what Tim Drake is in the comics so far. Like
Yeah.
Dick has forgiven Batman, but I love Barbara calling him out. Like, look, man, just because you've forgiven Bruce doesn't mean he didn't weaponize you as a child. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
And then Jason's gone where he's gone, and Barbara looking at, I loved her going, I put the cowl on myself, so you and I were equals, whether you think it or not. You
Yeah.
didn't do this to me.
Yeah.
If I had died out there, that'd have been on me. But Tim believes in Batman and believes in
Yeah.
Robin,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes him like a friggin' lit sun on this show. I mean, like he's just this like weird
Yep.
thing on this show.
The weirdest thing for me about this is Titans. It was a team show, and they focused in on Raven, and Raven's gone now.
Mhm.
And instead, all of a sudden, it's a Batman show. Like every DC book, every DC show, every DC movie always seems to drift into becoming a fucking Batman show somehow.
Yes.
Like this, all of a sudden, they're all in Gotham operating, and they're all operating out of Gotham.
Well, that's the thing is that I think the reason the quality went up, and I've only watched like season 1 sort of, and then I watched the crypto episodes of season 2. The Red Hood storyline fits right in with their fuck you adult, like even their Jason Todd is a great like I'm gonna wear a motorcycle jacket and a red hood and use guns because I'm a douchebag. Like he's
This is the show that looked at Batman and thought, you know what's missing? Pistols.
guns.
And that's the Red Hood. That's the Red Hood.
Yeah.
Because that's what a 13-year-old thinks like is awesome, like is cool, and I love that.
Ooh, you know what would be a super grown-up storyline for Batman? Hating your dad.
Can I say I'm a little bummed that they killed off Hawk the way they did?
I was gonna say, do we need to put a spoiler warning for the end of episode 3? I don't know if anybody's really watching the show. It's on its 3rd season.
You can't spoil Titans. It's garbage.
I think
I know. All right, he's going to be Jack Reacher. Like that actor is over on an Amazon show.
Yeah.
And I figured would not be Hawk much longer.
Also, they had to get rid of Hawk because he sucks.
I could not believe how they actually do that.
Yeah, it's messed up.
It is
the way
100%
they do it with Dawn.
Yeah, Dawn pulls that trigger.
Yeah, he fucked up. I mean, he fucked up
Now
Dove really badly.
No, she would have gone over that line and killed Jason. Now she's responsible for Hawk's death.
Not just that, Nick. No, he blackmailed her into attacking innocent people, stealing something for him, and then got her to murder her boyfriend while trying to kill him. Like the amount of mental fuck upitude that they just gave Dawn is really messed up.
Yo, it's awful. Yeah, like I mean, they didn't just kill Hawk; they killed Hawk and Dove. Like
and the thing is,
they ruined her.
She was such a badass in this episode too.
Oh
I
my
loved her
God.
like taking on the cops. I think Mika Kelly here is better than she ever was on Friday Night Lights.
She's just been great here. Yeah.
And poor Superboy learned to be a mechanical engineer at super speed and almost solved the problem.
Oh my God, and he's so close.
It's just, and he he's there. He has Hawk on him. That's how close he was to the explosion.
Yeah, the Titans really is, as much as the violence of the show is, they really do lean into the stick to your guns on the no killing thing.
Yeah.
If the good guys didn't kill people, things would work out better.
Yeah. It does feel a little bit like superhero misery porn sometimes.
Sometimes, like the one thing, like it's a marked improvement over season 1, which was a lot of angsty. And I'm glad that Batman is actually done now, because even though he did fuck them up, I was a little sick of the everything is Batman's fault. Batman sucks. Batman is like, it's like, okay, then let's get rid of him, because like obviously all we ever do is complain about this guy. Like even when he's not here, Dick is hallucinating him for some reason. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
he's always fucking here.
I guess I would say, and it sounds like I have nothing but negative stuff to say, but this was very watchable, and I found Titans to be just teeth-gratingly bad garbage early on, and now it's trashy fun garbage.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep watching this season.
Yeah, I'm in for a bit.
It is so goddamn dark though.
Yeah, it is.
It's so dark that it's not like when Stargirl has Eclipso happen, and you're like, you get shivers, and are like, oh shit, I think y'all have an actual villain on a very cute show.
Well, I mean, they have Garth like palling around and making jokes, but in the previous season, doesn't he remember eating a guy?
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he has a whole shell shock thing about it, like, hey, I remember what he tasted like.
Well, like things are so dark all the time on Titans that on the one hand, I wasn't surprised when a human being like exploded and their girlfriend pulled the trigger on what the detonator that made it happen, and they was tricked by an old friend of their like just deep betrayal. Like I wasn't surprised by it, but I was still. It's still a television show.
I
this
didn't
is
think they were going that way. I
like
did.
it-
I'll give
it
them
is-
that.
I may not like the dark show that Titans is all the time, but it sticks to its gun. Like it knows what show it is.
Yes.
Also, costume note: the Red Hood's mouth line needs to be about 3 inches downward.
Right? It's kind of fun looking. He kind of he's got a cute frowny face.
Unless that's an intentional, making him look kind of dopey, like a little dickhead. Like
No, it
That
needs to
actually,
be a
that
little
actually
might
sounds
be-
about right.
It needs to be a little bit lower. Yeah, once it clicked, like I couldn't figure out what was a little odd about the mask because overall he looks great.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's the mouth line. And I looked it up in the comments. I'm like, nope, it should be lower on the helmet because when you put it up that high, it looks like a cartoon mouth. He looks like evil Baymax or something. Like, "Rah."
Also, does Garth ever learn to turn into anything that's not a tiger?
Out of jealousy, perhaps, maybe this season.
he's working on it. Yeah, he's working on learning to turn into all kinds of shit.
Maybe.
Jeez, that's a long walk with him not learning how to just change into other shit.
Look, the budget. They have the budget for tigers.
We
Nick,
paid
that's
for
it.
that tiger 3D model, by God.
Look,
we
I
have
know
a-
that he was really good in that season of The Walking Dead, but is he worth the asking price?
We have a live tiger. We painted it green. We are gonna get our money's worth out of it before it dies.
3 crew members died for that tiger. My
Well,
God.
they're gonna have to find some. I hear he's getting scouted for the next Jungle Book movie. So
Not if Joe Exotic gets him first.
Right? They'll have to call Flash and get the 3D model for Grodd.
All right, let's divert over to talk about Star Trek Lower Decks, which I can't remember where we all landed. I wound up liking this by the end.
I loved Lower Decks. I really didn't want to. Based on the commercials, I did not want Family Guy Star Trek cartoon.
Yeah.
And I loved this. I loved that season. It was really fun.
just like you didn't want Robot Chicken MODOK, you do love Family Guy Lower Decks.
Yep. Yep.
Nick, where were you on Lower Decks? I can't remember.
Awesome. From the jump, I really liked it.
So, and Kyle, did you watch Lower Decks? I can't remember if you did or not.
Oh yeah, I love season 1.
So season 2 starts off. By the way, this is one of those things that I hate about streaming. Once they know they've hooked you, they stop showing you the 3 episodes. They just show 1.
Yep.
Ah.
Yeah. The 3 episodes is just for season 1.
Yeah, and then now they're like, nope, you get 1 episode. You
But
enjoy it.
But it deals with one of the craziest things from the original series.
Gary, what's his
Gary
name? What was-
Mitchell, Strange
Gary
Energy.
Mitchell. Yeah. I love that Star Trek Lower Decks does more deep cuts than any Star Trek show they have. And it's set in the sort of post next gen universe, so it's like it really feels like the modern canon more than anything else they've done.
Well, fuck, they got the actresses for Riker and Donna Troy, like
Yes.
the actual actors for the voices.
Yep. I thought this was super fun. I love the Mariner and her mom like battling one another and then deciding that they need to battle each other, that they're not good co-workers.
Yeah.
Actually, they are good co-workers. They're just unhappy about it.
Yes, they're unhappy about it.
Yeah. And I love that their Gary Mitchell is their bro-ish security chief who turns everything into a gym. That was amazing.
Just making gym
Getting
equipment.
jacked.
And repeatedly kicking him square in the junk is what
Yes.
distracts him long enough for them to do the same thing they do with Gary Mitchell, which is crush him with a rock. Kirk causes a landslide and crushes Gary.
There was also the running thing about the cyber implants thing and whether the person was just jealous or was trying to save him from bad cyber implants. And that was another good story. Like, this was a good opener.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's good because it reminds you of the first episode of like, she seems seems familiar. Like they kind of redo that storyline from the first episode. with the with the cyborg implant. I do like that at the end he's like, yeah, everything's good except for I hate pears again. I'm so mushy. Fuck pears. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
the random hatred for pears that I appreciated.
My favorite moment this episode, though, is the cut to Boimler.
Oh man, it
On
was
Riker.
we got a brief minute of it, and I hope we get so much more of it
Me
next
too.
episode.
Like, because he wanted to be on Riker's ship so bad, and then
Well, he didn't think that through.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
because watching this, I was like, oh fuck, they're right. That is exactly what Riker's like. Like
yeah,
this would I
Yeah.
love my job as they fly into like a space anomaly.
and Boimler went full on Morty here. He's
Yeah.
like, what are we doing? What?
if Riker could ride his ship on top of it with a cowboy hat, he fucking
Absolutely.
would.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a lasso around one nacelle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because Boimler doesn't realize, like, he gets overwhelmed on the Cerritos,
Cerritos,
which
yeah.
does second contact. What's he gonna do with Riker with all the shit he's gonna get
Yeah.
into? Like,
Yeah, like-
like-
Like 4 more Klingon birds of prey show up, or whatever the fuck a bird. I'm
Yep.
mixing up my Star Trek shit. Like birds of prey show up, and they're like, "What do we do? We're gonna fly directly into the anomaly." Yeah.
Yeah. This was super fun. I'm actually super happy to have it back. It gained a lot for me at the end, and and I think they picked up strong. So I'm excited to have it back.
Yeah, it just got better and better in season 1 for me. I want to go back and watch it.
if we cold open for every episode with something different from the holodeck, I'll totally watch. Like, I
Oh,
love
man.
that cold
Yeah.
open.
I love the other Starfleet officer that's like,
Yeah.
oh wait, so you work out by escaping like big elaborate holodeck things? Like, yeah, what do you don't? You just use the gym
Yoga?
equipment? Yoga?
I do yoga,
Wow, how original.
but I love that they tip their hand. Like, even if you haven't figured it out, she runs past Boimler, and he's like, he's a hologram.
Look, I'm a hologram, okay? I'm sure real Boimler had his reasons. I don't know, maybe did you ever intimidate him?
What? No, shut up!
No, Mariner.
You're abandoning your fellow officer? Yeah, well, he did it first.
Yeah, it was super fun. Gentlemen, I think it might be time for dessert.
Ooh.
We got
Which
double.
dessert are we doing first?
We got double desserts, and let's start with what if. Why don't we? I think I got a lot to say about this week's Ted Lasso. So let's start with what if, which again it was I thought really good. It was the people who complained about the first one being too on the rails, it was too much like similar to what happened, will not have that complaint about
So-
this episode of What If.
I don't know. I felt like this is a show specifically made to make Grant hate something in the MCU. Because like I know how much Grant hates sequels that go back and call back jokes. Like I know he doesn't see it as callbacks. It just sees you as aping the first movie, and that's the design of What If. Like what if we show you a bunch of Marvel stuff but with different people in the roles?
But the thing is, this one starts that way. This is the What If Black Panther were Star-Lord, and it really there's only one scene we get of like him stealing the orb in the very beginning that is anything close to what happened in Guardians, and even that goes completely differently.
So I loved in this one that even more than the Captain America one. Like Peggy was basically a great Cap, the way that Steve was a great Cap.
Yeah,
In this one, T'Challa is so much a better person
yeah.
than Peter.
A million times.
He gets Thanos to give up genocide.
Oh my god, the running
Although
gag
I still
of
admit it
everyone.
made sense.
Like it's efficient. Like when
Like, he's still on it. Like,
and
he's
even
not
at
letting
the
it go
end, like,
just yet.
the Dora Milaje are like,
It
that
reminds
sounds
me
like genocide.
of every argument fanboys had after
Yeah.
Endgame, where it was like, come on,
everyone,
Disney.
like, nope, that sounds like genocide.
Can I tell you guys, the biggest laugh I got was when we revealed that Thanos was behind the bar. And he said something, and I about died laughing, realized that they were making Thanos like a member of the Ravagers and a buddy of T'Challa. I do think this walks that line that Guardians walks to, where it's almost too goofy. I was like, okay, so Thanos is a good guy, but he did still murder a bunch of planets, right? Like he's still a bad person.
But all the Ravagers have
But
done
I mean,
stuff.
so is Drax, if you think
Well,
about
I mean,
it.
when did T'Challa get to that there? Maybe he got to him pretty early. Maybe he only killed a couple planets.
But the other thing is, people are mad at Star-Lord for like fucking up the getting the gauntlet. But now we see that if it had been T'Challa instead of Peter, Endgame would never have happened.
Just deal with the gauntlet.
The whole universe is better off.
Also, I love that Nebula is like his girlfriend, calls him Cha-Cha.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Well,
Like a totally different Nebula.
Everyone is better off. The Ravagers are going around Robin Hooding everywhere. Like, T'Challa completely turned everything around.
There is one thing.
We steal from the rich and give to the poor like that folk hero on your planet, Robin Leach.
Well, no.
Hood.
That was a funny call out.
This is what's great about What If is that when they take an idea of like, okay, what if we put someone else in the shoes of Star-Lord? What would be funny or a thing to do with that?
Yeah.
Okay, what if they're actually really good at it, unlike this dipshit Star-Lord?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then people know his name, like, and actually he is famous. Oh, that's good. And then they keep going from there of like one of the Ronin's guys like switches sides, Jimon Hansu's character,
That was
just like
also a good
fanboys
bit.
out and is like, hey, oh man, I am looking, like, do you want to jump from the side? Like, nah, I'm not really hiring right now. Oh, can we at least fight?
Oh, it's the honor of my life. Yeah.
Again, though, this borders on the problem that Grant may have this problem. I'm curious to hear, but it borders on being too goofy because I'm like, that character is also in Captain Marvel, and he is shown to be basically a Kree extremist. So the notion that he's like a fanboy of T'Challa is a little bit weird. It's a goofy joke that works because I like it so much, but it doesn't work in terms of being at all consistent with the character.
You can argue, since it takes place so far, like the moment of taking T'Challa out is like, was it decades?
Yeah,
that something happened
before
with
the events
that
of Captain Marvel.
Yeah, like where people aren't like the same. Like Nebula is like some sort of femme fatale now. Like
that's true.
Also, we get kind of, because of the reveal about Thanos, it makes a lot more sense. In the trailers, we see Gamora, but she's wearing Thanos' armor and wielding the sword from Endgame.
Do you think that's a sequel? Do you think we're going to see?
Well, I think all these stories are going to connect in one or maybe multiple episodes later down the road.
Because they do tease at the end of this, what might have fucked everything up is that Peter gets his dad comes and gets him, and Peter has not had the moral guidance of the Guardians or whatever else, so that when he comes to Peter is like, hey, let's destroy the universe, Peter might be like, yeah, man, let's do it. Like,
yeah, I've never had a dad.
That could be real. That could be real bad.
The offer of power from Ego, but without Yondu's Mary Poppins.
Yeah, the person I was listening to talk about it goes, press F in the chat for this version of Earth.
Yeah. So I'll be curious to see if they are going to do the sequel, because, I mean, they don't have Chadwick Boseman anymore unless they record another episode with him. And I don't know if we know.
Oh, if he's in... Oh, sorry. They've already said he's in 3 episodes this season that he recorded for. Yeah,
okay, so they're going to...
At least 2
They
more.
are going to do more of this.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
That's really cool. I
was wondering
also...
how that... Yeah.
I'm a fan of heists, and this is a giant heist. And so I loved all of that. I love
how they handle the Collector is so cool.
Yeah, the Collector's never been that. He's just a goofball in the MCU. They made him a badass.
Yeah.
Dude,
also,
he is cut.
You know, when they take the orb and he goes, we should use this to restart the star for this such and such race. Yeah. The race he was talking about, that was that pink girl with the pink skin.
Yeah.
Who they give the gauntlet to at the end. Mm-hmm. Also, coincidentally, the same race of the girl that Peter Quill was hooking up with at the first Guardians film.
Yes. Also, the using Howard the Duck and having Seth Green voice him was super fun.
Yeah, awesome. I loved that Howard thought he was about to get shot for running his mouth, and like he shoots and opens the lock and like, give me the tour.
Yeah, I also
Louis.
I also love Cosmo. I'd be even happier if he had said something in Russian inflected telepathy, but I'm glad that Cosmo's in it.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Rescuing the dog was great.
Well, James Gunn said that he would have put Cosmo in the original Guardians if he hadn't already had Rocket in there.
Right. And there's no Rocket here, so
yeah.
But the thing that's
we got room
unfortunate
for a
is
talking animal.
Part of the thing that's so fun about Cosmo is that Cosmo and Rocket hate each other because they're a dog and a raccoon, and that's the thing. I really want to see that played out in animation or something. So I don't know. I'm not wrong. That's Taserface, who's one of the Ravagers, right?
Oh,
that's Taserface. Yeah,
and they got the actor to do the voice.
That's the only voices they didn't get. Weirdly, Drax.
Yeah, did you guys hear the story about that?
No, they didn't even ask him, right?
No, so apparently what happened is they asked his people, but his people never got it to Dave Bautista. So when he found out, he was like, why didn't they even ask me? And then his agents had to be like, oh, they did, but you were doing
Someone
this.
got fired.
Someone got fired over that.
I bet, man. I
But
bet.
also, they didn't get Chris Pratt back to do Star-Lord.
Oh, I didn't catch that one.
So
That
I
was
thought
real
that was
quick,
interesting
though.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, they also didn't get Chris Evans. Like, they can't afford the Chris's, apparently. They can't get Chris's.
Yeah.
They did get Kurt Russell though.
Oh, they
Yeah,
did?
like
For
one line.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Kurt Russell. So they got Kurt Russell, but they couldn't get Chris Pratt. Yeah, it's a little weird. Maybe it is they can't get Chris. Although I think Hemsworth is in the mix. So he's the one Chris.
He's
Yeah.
just down for anything. That guy's just hanging out on a couch in the back of Marvel.
But this was super fun. Would you guys put this? Do you like the second episode or the first episode better?
Oh, I'm probably going to go second episode.
The first episode is constructed better overall as an overall story. The second episode has the coolest moments and the biggest geek stuff in it.
Yes, yeah. The second episode is
That's-
just Easter eggs and jokes.
That's fair.
But I
That's
think
fair.
the first episode, Peggy realizing she can flip that fucking truck,
Yeah.
is just a stunningly awesome moment.
I think the first episode is a better episode, but I think I might like the second episode better, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense. I don't disagree with you. The second episode is a lot of fun, but I think the first episode is my favorite as well. But I'm certainly not unhappy about this.
Yeah.
I was very happy with it. I love when I realized that T'Challa being Star-Lord basically makes the entire galaxy a better place.
Yep.
That is fun. Of like, we are just one what if away from like everything kind of working out.
Right?
Yeah.
I do love that, like, since Collector is dead in the MCU, they finally gave him a chance to really be a threat and like a legitimate threat. And
Wait, is he
fighting him
dead?
is super cool because he just fights with Easter eggs. He
He's
just
not
fights
dead.
with references.
He's not dead. He's alive.
Oh, in the MCU,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
He-
didn't Thanos
no.
kill him, or am
No,
I
he didn't
remembering that wrong?
No, he doesn't die in Endgame. He reveals that he's in a prison,
Oh, okay.
but he doesn't actually kill him.
Oh, he's still bumping around then. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's still bumping around. But you're right. Him fighting. I honestly, I was really hoping when they were fighting, because they showed Cap's shield and Thor's hammer. I was really hoping T'Challa was going to call Mjolnir.
Yeah.
I would have been so
that'd have
happy.
been cool,
Because you know that dude's worthy.
right?
Well,
I was really hoping.
also makes you think, are those replicas,
Right,
being the
right.
collector?
right.
It
Yeah.
did feel very much like the original Secret Wars, where like the collector just brings like, every hero come to me and you two fight, and you two fight.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
just
Also,
like
great
action
ending for
figures.
him of being ripped apart by his collection. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
great,
Yeah.
great ending.
All right, let's talk about our other dessert, and that is Ted Lasso's Christmas special.
Ooh.
Christmas in
Claymation
summer.
intro for every episode. Let's do it.
Oh man, the plasticine Christmas intro was amazing.
This was a thing that I guess they did during COVID, and one of the reasons that they're also happy is that this was the first time they were actually able to be together on set. So like this was a
Oh,
this was a thing they didn't know they were able to pull off, and they did, and it feels like a special episode, but also
wow,
like
that energy really comes across.
it
Yeah.
really does. And I always love Ted Lasso. It is always a thing that is like the opposite of Bo Burnham's Inside. I watch it when I want to feel like the world might not be just a giant shit pile. And that this episode did that for me, but on a level that Ted Lasso has not achieved yet. Like I was like, this got me like every 5 minutes. I was like choking up at it. It was so every
Ooh.
story is good.
Yeah,
And combining it with Christmas, like this is going to be a Christmas watch every year.
yeah, yeah. I have a new
Also
Christmas
combining it with British Christmas, which is
Yeah.
very much different than American Christmas.
Yep.
And they slipped a lot of stuff in there, kind of crescendoing with their Love Actually moment at the end.
Mhm.
I mean, I'd read an article about this that I think the guy who played Coach wrote this episode,
Mhm.
and that
Weird because he's not in much of it.
the little kid halitosis bit,
Yeah.
that's
real.
I think that's
That's-
real. I think
that's
that
based
happened to him
Yeah.
or
yeah.
somebody he knew, like when he was a kid, and that was a real thing. And I
It
love.
can't be that bad. Here, let me smell.
Oh!
Oh, never
I
mind.
love it when,
you
when
might be
Roy
dying.
looks at Keely of like, what
you're
the
dying.
fuck? She's a little kid.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
I really tried.
Yep.
But the immediate like, this can't be your fault, kid. Like, this is
Yeah.
medical. The good news is this is medical.
But I also love that the first thing, and this is very Roy, when she's like, Bernard gave me these toys, and he's like, where's Bernard?
Mm-hmm. It can't,
And
he's just
Keely's
standing
like,
up a little, like a few degrees at a time.
Keely's like, you can't go beat up a little kid.
Why not?
And then, but how that ends, what he actually does, the
Yeah.
fucking what's the movie now? I'm thinking
Love
Damn it.
Actually.
Love Actually. Love Actually.
They Love Actually the kid,
Yep.
but with a threat, like
Yep.
and it so works because it's so creepy.
Yep.
Like,
Well, that scene in Love Actually is creepy. You get to that part of
it's
the
so
movie and
creepy
you're
as
like,
fuck.
what the hell is going on here?
I am continually impressed by how they had Rebecca was such an ice queen in the first half of Ted Lasso,
Mhm.
and we are now seeing what Sassy Smurf was telling us. That's basically that's not Rebecca, and the Rebecca we're seeing now. This is Rebecca. She was getting handwritten letters from Santa somehow, and going and delivering presents to kids.
I love that she does. I don't think she fully explains how that worked.
No.
Yeah.
She's rich, so I buy it. I'm like, she can figure out a way to do that. But
she knows like Ted's lonely though, and she knows he's totally going to be into this.
I was watching that, and he's drinking whiskey and watching A Wonderful Life, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like this. And I was yelling at the TV. I was like, damn it, Ted, go to Hagen's house. and so when she shows outside and she's done the hi Ted, just like he did hi boss.
Yep.
Back in season 1. Man, I loved every bit of that. I love the two of them going around doing stuff.
One of my favorite moments in this episode is with Rebecca and Ted, where she's talking about how last Christmas I didn't do this and I felt bad. And it's that moment where he finally cracks and he makes the joke, oh, what were you doing last Christmas? Which was pretty much plotting, him, ruining the team. And they both get a giggle, but it's just like, it reminds you of like the forgiveness and, it's just hit all the good feels.
Hey, you want me to drive? It's the wrong side. Like, oh right, I'm the one with the accent.
They're doing such modeling of like a good divorced parent. Like he and his wife get along really well. Yeah, he buys a guilt drone gift for the kid, but like they are modeling great behavior for that kid.
Yeah. Yeah, but you could also tell that like I don't want to be in this conversation. Like we aren't.
Yeah.
I'm not here to hang out with you on FaceTime all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't envy that woman for having to divorce like the nicest person on the planet.
Right.
Who everybody in her life is probably telling her, you're dumb.
Well,
Why are you doing
this?
this?
He had to divorce her at a certain point of like, she couldn't do it. Couldn't pull the trigger
he
on
had
it.
to flat tell her like, it is okay to leave me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The writers had said that they basically just wanted Rebecca to sing again. Because the actress that plays her is can fucking sing. And the craziest thing to me is that that's her holding back. That she went to the writers and was like, I'm a professional singer. Rebecca's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so like that is that woman in her head holding back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's her level of phoning it in.
Like yeah, exactly. Like that's her like I'm fucking around.
I also everything at the Higgins house.
Oh my god.
Showing
all of it.
That usually it's like 2 people show up. Now it's like everybody because Leslie's so well liked because Rebecca's let him back in. And all the stuff between the kids. I love every minute with Sam. I love the kids staring at the French model.
I'm a sucker for any like this always gets me. I think it's funny of like any Nerf dart or water gun war.
Oh man,
that they over dramatize. It's been done so much.
Yeah,
but every time I love it because it's so funny.
Tell my wife I love her. You're gonna tell her yourself because we're making it out of here.
And then you're gonna introduce me to her identical twin sister,
equally attractive identical twin sister.
And then they both get like they both like struggle on the ground as they get shot.
Yep. Oh man, just delightful.
And the kid like the setup of the jokes for like the kid gets the surfboard, which is a really weird English English present. I feel And then, but like you get your kid something goofy that they want on Christmas. It's great. And then realizing later, like, oh, that existed. So you'd have a way to make this table later. And then the wing shot, the tracking shot through all the food. Is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just, it's everything about it is great and uplifting and funny as shit. Like, there's no way it should be able to do this and not be schmaltzy, but it's not. It's just uplifting.
Another thing this episode does that it's going to echo throughout the rest of the season, and I think we've seen this in the earlier episodes this season too, But a lot of times these sports shows, because sports teams are so big, you have like 5 guys that are the main guys. And then actually Pitch Perfect makes this joke the best because there's just people in the background and they make jokes about, oh, have they been here the whole time?
Yeah.
But what this show does is, or what this season has done, is it's probably doubled the characters on the team. Like all the bit players, we're starting to get pieces of their personality and find out who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, like Zoro.
Zorro.
Mhm.
No, I mean Zoro.
It's pronounced Zorro.
Zoro?
By the way, also, 2 things. One is, I don't think we talked about the previous episode. Because I don't think we talked about the black tape and these throwing.
No, and of course
we
this is
didn't.
the one-off.
We talked about
So
it.
yeah, I think we
This-
talked about that.
Did we?
Yeah,
We talked about
okay.
the protests and how it might have real
Oh,
negative
right. So yeah, we
ramifications.
did talk about that's right. So because they did say this was one of the either Bill Lawrence or one of their writers was like, yeah, we wanted to do this as sort of the calm before the storm. So this is
Yeah,
not
it
over.
feels like
We're gonna go to like what happens. Also, other thing, Roy has not been in a scene with anybody except Keeley.
he's yet to deal with the team.
Oh.
I mean, and Rebecca. He was in with Rebecca, but like he has not seen the team. He's not seen Ted. He's not seen Jamie.
I think they're saving the him and Ted thing of of some sort of reunion moment, and it's going to be pretty good.
I think so too, and I think we're.
We
building
did
to
get
it, so.
Jamie only has
briefly-
one line in this, like in
He
this
does, but
episode,
God, is
which
it
is
great?
secrets.
Actually,
Secret
that was
Santa,
a
and
good
he's like,
scene, though.
You didn't realize? Well, I thought it was a secret, so I didn't want to spoil the
I didn't want to spoil the
surprise.
secret. And then when they give him the thing, and it's very Jamie, he's like, "God bless me, everyone."
And I was like, and I thought to myself, okay, last week I remember thinking it was a good idea to add you to the team, but I'm having a hard time remembering why now.
Why now? I didn't want to spoil the secret.
Last week I thought this was a good idea.
The only complaint I have about this is that this is episode 4. They've now got to top this for 6 episodes, and that is really difficult.
Yeah. I think I want to say they had 2 episodes added to their season, so there may be one more special ep.
There's another one like that. Yes, they did have 2 episodes. Yeah.
Thank God they got Disney or Apple Plus money.
Right?
Yeah.
This ain't going anywhere.
This is honestly, there's best show on TV, and there's like nothing's close.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I have loved the Marvel Cinematic Universe shows, none of them touch Ted Lasso.
Yeah, this is the best. This is for me the best show on TV right now.
This is the reason to own a television, to be honest.
The writing here is something to really behold. It's immaculate. It'll be held up. I really think it's going to be held up like in the future along there with Cheers and
I agree.
feel good comedies of legend.
Well, it feels like Mike Schur just announced that he's signing on to do Field of Dreams for Peacock. And I liked Rutherford Falls quite a bit. But Mike Schur, I mean, he had The Good Place and he had like the TV Crown. And Bill Lawrence just came along and snatched it.
Yeah.
Like Bill Lawrence in his writing room here. So like, this is a show that Mike Schur should have done. This feels like a Mike Schur show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to see what Dan Gore does next off Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
You know, they do a Field of Dreams baseball tournament in Iowa every year. I guess Iowa doesn't have a baseball team. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. But
That's
like,
possible.
because of Field of Dreams, they still do have like some tournament where like major league players go out there and
No
play.
one wants to go to Iowa to confirm.
Yeah.
You get lost in the cornfield,
like-
come out with Shoeless Joe.
Like Wyoming, which is an ancient word meaning no state here.
If you talk about it, they will not care.
Well, y'all, this has been a lot of fun. I think we ran a little long this week because we had double desserts, but I think it was worth it. And thank you, TV dudes, for joining us as always.
Yeah.
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, dudes.
Yeah, thanks. I'm gonna say Dave for requesting of the Patreon.
Max.
Max? Wow, I was way off.
You were way off.
Damn.
And thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. And until next week,
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TV Dudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
to find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.